we had three of the founders presenting today, and just scanning chat, but I've got some questions that I thought I'd ask from them. Probably if each of you, if you could tell, if you kind of think of where you were a year ago, either you would have had an idea or you would have had a product forming, wherever you were. If you take the last year where you kind of went through a set of stages and took some steps to make that idea a reality after getting serious about it. So if you could share with us what was your biggest win in the last year and what was your biggest challenge in a couple of, briefly, that would be fantastic. Who would want to go first?
I can go first if you want.
Yes, please.
So for me, I kind of came at this a bit backwards, is that I had effectively the product fully developed from my honors thesis and didn't have the business model surrounding it and figuring out how to actually like make it a reality and make it sustainable. So like kind of the biggest win and thing that's happened in the last year is like joining the incubator program and getting that context around how to actually form a business and how to not necessarily make money, but like have it be sustainable and have all those ins and outs there.
And your biggest challenge, Flynn?
Biggest challenge is just getting my head around all the businessy bits. I'm very engineering brain, so like I have no context around all the B2B, B2C acronyms and all that. So it's been like a recalibration of how I think about everything. It's been fun.
Awesome. Do you have anything to say, Michelle and Christian? Anything to?
Yeah, I can go first. I can go second. I started the incubator program October 2024 when I met Steph, and she told me that Circular Tech is going to be the new incubator program. I believe last year was the first time that it was launched. Correct me if I'm wrong, Caitlin. Yeah, so it's been tremendous. A good experience because the incubator program is very much circular focus. So we talk about circular business model, how to reuse, recycle, and even re-commerce to a certain extent. And different business model, which is very different from the traditional business model whereby you just sell, monetize, look at revenue, but this is a little bit more strategic in that focus. I had the ideas to MVP, and the landing page came live this year, February, thanks to the incubator program as well as the pre-accelerator program, which made it happen. So I think like ideas to execution took about 6 months per se. So I think this has been a good experience so far, and definitely need a lot of resilience to continue on. Yeah.
And what was your biggest challenge that you kind of saw or see?
I think the challenge will be how to take it from current launch to like a real tangible business. So I think that will be the next stage of the business. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Christian?
I think everyone naturally has strengths and weaknesses, but one thing I've learned from being part of these programs is that if you're working on an early stage startup, you do need to be exceptionally well-rounded, either through your own capability development or by bringing in skills to augment the skills that you have. And I think that for me, going through this program has really highlighted some of those areas where I do need support, and particularly as a non-tech person doing a tech startup, that was probably the game changer for me, was that there was an early realization, but I also found a really good partner who could enable the bits that I couldn't do myself. So I think being really open to that support is critical, and the accelerator itself just really helps you kick the tires from every angle. And so you'll find out pretty quickly where your startup idea or your business needs some extra shoring up. So that was a really valuable takeaway for me. It's been a really valuable experience going through the program. I guess as far as the setbacks, I think, there's this idea that a tech startup person is, someone in their garage in a hoodie, eating ramen noodles and doing it all themselves. And it's probably not like representative of where I am in my life at the moment. So haven't got 80 hours a week to put into it, which is a shame. And that's been certainly a challenge, but there's definitely different ways to work around that. And I've been quite pleased with the speed at which my idea has progressed. And as far as the biggest win, yeah, I think I never thought I'd make it this far. Got into the incubator program, and that was really exciting. And some early validation was really encouraging to keep going, and then continuing to progress and see this grow a little bit has been wonderful. So I think there's no real standout there other than to say, just getting some positive feedback and some negative feedback through this process has been really insightful, and it's been my best takeaway.
Thank you. And they gave you a prize, so you had to go far, didn't you?
That's it. That's right.
So, all righty. There's some questions for. There's a question for Flynn. Have you spoken with larger packaging companies about your product?
No, not as of yet. I'm kind of working on a new manufacturing process that should. The problem at the moment with mycelium stuff is that it doesn't scale particularly well. The company in the US, Ecovative's been trying very, very hard to get it scalable. But one of the biggest, there's a bit of a bottleneck in the technology, so I'm working on some stuff that should hopefully ease that. So it was still in the kind of the very early stages of product development on that front, so haven't spoken to anyone yet.
Okay. All right. Until questions come up, I may ask another question. Whoever interested could take it. There are so many ideas that you come across on a daily basis, and if you kind of make a list, there might be quite a few. So what was the stage that you picked as an idea? What was that light bulb moment, or was it a kind of a conscious excel that you picked that idea that you are working on today?
I think for me, I worked in the sustainability space for about 10 years and probably in the circular economy space for 5. And it just seemed to be this really narrow gap in the market that I just kept seeing from different angles. So it's one of those, overnight ideas that's 10 years in the making. And I think I'd always been refining what it could be in my mind. And then, it really crystallized through the program. But I guess that was the journey that I went on. It was just, and I think for those that are on the call that are thinking about something that would suit them, I think focusing on an area where you've got, you've either got deep exploration skills or you've got strong expertise and can see a market gap. That's super critical. But then at the earliest stage possible, always trying to validate, is there a commercial model that would support solving this problem? And I think, particularly in sustainability, you see lots of potential solutions out there, but you definitely need to make sure you're testing really early that there's a business model that can support it, because that's the only way it'll scale and be a real life solution.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add, Michelle or Flynn?
Sorry, go Michelle.
Yeah, okay. For me, I spoke to quite a bit of moms as well as parents to validate the idea. They mentioned that they did buy pre-loved baby items online through marketplace, and there was quite a bit of pain. So I took that pain and to turn it into a business model by actually enhancing it with technology. Main thing is that the business model was there prior to the technology. So technology is just there to support it, but it's not there to support and enable it, but it's not like the main thing. So basically, I'm still trying to understand the market gap as well as to have a solution fit before I use technology. Yeah.
So kind of you pick the idea first and search for the technology to enable it. Awesome. Flynn?
So for me, it kind of snowballed from this one moment of inspiration, where my dad gave me a book on how to grow mushrooms, and there was one line in that book that said oyster mushroom mycelium has the same tensile strength as steel, and my engineer brain just kind of went, ooh, we could probably do something with that. Turns out it doesn't. I looked up. There's a bit of an exaggeration on the book's part, but from there, it just kind of lit a passion in me about this cool new material, this new world of fungi that's kind of hasn't been really explored as much as other areas of science, and just snowballed from there. It's like, hey, I want to use this for something. What's a good problem? And then discovered the animal cat problem, and just it's like, I want to use this. I want to do something, and it just snowballed from there, basically.
So you had this moment of dancing in the rain.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we have a question for Colin and Christian. How did you, or how would you market or promote your product? What do you do currently?
You go, Flynn, to yourself.
Don't know at this point. It's kind of for Hypertech, the shelter thing. It's very. The issue is that it's so niche and so removed from like any kind of revenue stream. So it's been a bit, and that's one of the things that like kind of doing the incubator has really like helped with the business side of how do you monetize putting things out in the bush to protect native animals. So it's a bit tricky in that way. So basically no at this point. Yeah.
So you're more in the product development phase, Flynn, with the market go-to-market strategies yet to be identified.
Yeah. It was still figuring out the ins and outs of all that.
Nice. I think from my perspective, I originally thought it was going to be a business to consumer solution. So I thought people would just download it on their phones and it would go viral and off we go. But I think in reality, it's more likely to be successful through the institutional pathway, which would be me marketing it through institutional partners, understanding the problems that they're trying to solve for, and then tailoring the tool to help support them roll it out through their channel. So if you think about a bank or an insurance company that's insuring houses and they might have 1 million customers, it's through them. Saying that, I'm still going to release a direct-to-consumer version, because from a tech perspective, I think there'll be a lot of value for us to start testing with, so make it available, people can download and use it. We'll get a lot of learnings and product refinement from people using it. But it's probably unlikely that it would gain enough traction to, be a standalone business just through that, unless we manage to find some success with, say, a local government where we said, hey, look, can we do a pilot in this particular local government area? We can, give it to you for a discount or something. So I think the answer is it's a two-sided problem, and we're really trying to do it from both sides.
Awesome. And Paul has a comment. Apps are very, very hard. Paul, do you like to comment, talk more about it?
Ooh.
Yes, please.
Yes, I would. Hi,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. Having been in a few startups with myself, going B2C, Christian, sorry, that I can tell you that it's hard work to go that way, because not everybody wakes up in the morning and goes, aha, I want to do, I want to use an app to find out or do something. We're very busy people. So having been through that route and burnt a lot of money in that space, my view is that I hear what you're saying about getting feedback through that loop, but it's a very hard place to earn a living.
Yeah, great feedback. Thank you, Paul. Do appreciate it.
And Paul, do you like to add some of the strategies that you would like to share, like takeaways, lessons, things that everybody could do better with?
That's a long process. I think understanding exactly which customers you're going for. So the question I asked earlier, who have you spoken to, Christian, about who showed the most interest. You don't have a lot of time, you don't have a lot of resource. Often just picking one and getting that right is helpful. And Flynn, your idea with the product, it's a pity there's a roadblock there. It sounds like getting a patent or something like that as soon as you can possibly manage to, once you figure that out, would be good as well. But getting to scale, understanding what your customers want, will stand you in good stead. And I think really understanding what they want. A lot of people will say, Michelle, yes, I want this, but until there's actual credit card and money on the table, it really doesn't matter a lot. The say-do gap is very, very real.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, especially at this time, I guess it's tough economic times as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So until other questions come through, can I again put a question for all three of you? Caitlin has one. How have you approached partnerships, collaborations in the sector your solution in, and have they been necessary? How important have they been, and what has been your approach? Do you want to give a go at it?
Yeah, I can go first if you're happy with that.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so they've been hugely necessary. Effectively, is that with the what I spoke about before, like how do you monetize that? Is that we kind of ended up pivoting a little bit of leaning into the strengths of the mycelium of that, like nature's recycler. So on one side, we're looking at being like a waste management platform to get the raw material. So looking at partnerships with breweries and wool growers and stuff, and just effectively the way I've been doing it is just emailing people, knocking down doors, talking to people, and everyone. The good thing about trying to do a good thing is that people are more open and enthusiastic about it if they care about those kind of things.
Yeah.
I think for me, partnerships will be more to consumer point of view, whereby I try to look for more influencer marketing. That's to grow the user side of things, and also from a social viewpoint. And I'm also trying to partner with single moms or single mom charity organizations or organizations which help out moms who are in need, moms and parents who are in need. So it's two-pronged, like the supply side as well as the user side of things. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. For you, Christine, do you like to talk about who you spoke to, try to, or working on to establish partnerships with?
Yeah, certainly. I got a bit of a free kick, I guess, because I see this problem in my day-to-day job a little bit as well. So I've had some great insight from institutions on that front, and that's been one of the driving factors to go out and try and build a solution as a startup. So I think what's also been helpful from a consumer perspective is, every time someone moves house or is thinking about, their own place or their energy bills or cost of living crisis, those types of things, they get presented with challenges that are really hard to navigate but familiar. So it's, maybe they're eligible for rooftop solar, or maybe they are thinking about changing the glazing on their windows to save some energy, or maybe their water pump broke and they're thinking about, well, what replacement options do I have? And this tool should help with all of those types of decisions, but it should also have some other elements that are more related to, I guess, the structure of the building too. But what I really like is that it will have solutions for people that have a $0 budget. So it's what kind of behavior-based things could I do? Could I close my blinds on a hot day? Those types of things, which could save up to $400 a year for an average person, all the way through to those that say, yeah, I want to, do it all and, retrofit this entire home to be more energy efficient. So it's really important to me that it's a tool that benefits everyone, not just people that can afford to do really significant upgrades to their homes. And I think from a circular economy perspective, you say, well, what's the circular bit? And extending the useful life of a building is actually one of the best things you could do from an embodied carbon perspective. So if you say what materials and scope, you say, well, it's actually the entire building. And that was based on some really interesting presentation I saw from the city of Melbourne, who are looking at retrofitting existing office buildings in the CBD, and there's a target to do something like 80 a year, because the embodied energy of that building is preserved by retrofitting the floors rather than knocking down the full building and doing a full rebuild. So it's part of an existing strategy, and I'm just really trying to apply it to a domestic setting, which is highly fragmented and therefore really hard to do. But those same principles for the built environment apply in this case. And then it's just a bit of a capability building piece for users as well, to say, well, hope you feel empowered to make these simple decisions now because we've done the hard work for you.
We have a question for Flynn coming through. I'll put my last one after that. Have you verified the effectiveness of your shelter? So the question is about, are there existing products that have been proven made with possibly unsustainable materials, which means are there similar products, alternatives made with unsustainable materials, and your one gives a specific advantage? Have you?
Yeah. So In one way, yes. I emailed CSIRO and their National Bushfire Behaviour Lab, and luckily, they were looking for kind of something to test in their Pyrotron machine, which basically simulates grass fires. So we sent out some samples up to Canberra and tried to set them on fire, basically, and it was really good. We got some really good data out of that about. Most of the samples survived, but one of them did ignite in a very interesting way. It was smoldered very slowly and very hot over a while. So that actually led to us switching to wool rather than cotton as the base of the material. But in terms of longevity in the environment, that's an unknown at this point. We don't know exactly how long a shelter would last out there. In terms of other products that exist, there's a really cool company called Rehabitat, and they have these little cardboard habitat pods, which are effectively the same idea, just a slightly different solution. And the only real difference between mine and theirs is that mine's fire resistant. So we can have that preemptive approach. Theirs is only retroactive after a fire comes through. And so I've actually been talking to them about potentially making their product out of my material, because they've got all the embedded knowledge of areas to put it in, how to deploy it and everything, which I don't have, and it's going to be difficult for me to build that kind of knowledge. So looking at potentially a kind of partnership in that area with them about being a manufacturer and deploying giving them stuff to deploy with.
Okay, excellent. We have a question coming through, but we're almost at the end of the webinar, if that's okay. So I was just going to comment on it, telling that these are the amazing opportunities that come with partnerships. You may be setting up a facility to manufacture it, or you would be licensing your technology or signing up a technology or a sort of innovation partnerships with another company. So beautiful opportunities emerge out of the solutions like this. We are almost at the end of the webinar. So there's a question from Rashad. What metric or signal do you wish you'd paid more attention to in the early days? I have, my question is a bit similar, so I'll combine them. I want to ask, what would you do differently? Is there any sort of thing that you kind of say, oh, I had this lesson. If I knew now what if I knew that time when I started, what I know today, I would do this differently. So Rashad's question is also similar. What would I measure differently if I knew better? Maybe a quick 30-second answer from each of you, if that's okay.
I'd love to get my product in market earlier. It's a constraint of what I'm trying to build, but I think that early live feedback would be absolutely invaluable. So do you recommend that you pursue that if that's an option for you?
Beautiful.
Mine is very much a consumer product, so B2C. If I were to pay more attention, it's actually to, I use a lot of analytics to measure the effectiveness of my marketing campaign. So let's say I run a marketing campaign like Meta ads or even Instagram ads or TikTok in the future. I'll have a look at the data like page views, impressions, clicks, cost per click, and try to bring down the cost of acquisition. So I think Paul mentioned about like apps being very hard. Because the cost of acquisition is high. So if we could bring down the cost of acquisition, it would be tremendous value for a startup. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I guess yes. So just get on the phone sooner to people about. It's I can do so much desktop research, but then just speak to an expert for 5 minutes is just so much more valuable than any amount of desktop research that I can do.
I'm glad that you figured it out, Flynn. Whenever you said I was emailing them, I was like, did you actually call them? Alrighty, I'm going to share my screen for a bit as we have come to the end of the webinar. A second. Just doing the wrap up. I hope you can see my screen. So we are at the end of our webinar, and we have done quite a few so far through Anvarta, partnering with different institutions, universities, and this is our webinar. We partnered with RMIT Activator to talk about to share the stories of 3 circular tech startups and the amazing journey they have taken and the progress they have made so far. So we have a future one coming, which will be announced soon. Just want to take a couple of seconds to share with you about our upcoming course, which will happen on the 20th and 21st August, Introduction to Circular Procurement. So I think I mentioned Anvarta is committed to capability building towards a circular economy, and this is one of our courses which we have run before and rerunning for the 4th consecutive time. So thank you. And with that, I'd like to ask you, if possible, to take a minute to tell us what your experience in this webinar. It'll help us organize similar or better ones, and also pass on that feedback to our RMIT Activator so that we could review what early stage startups or to-be entrepreneurs or people who have ideas want to know in similar information sharing sessions. It's a short feedback survey you could access through the QR code. Alrighty, thank you so much. I would like to thank Caitlin, who joined from the RMIT Activator, Michelle, Christian, and Flynn, who took time to share their stories with us and answered all the questions. It's not easy to open up about something you're working on, or share it for the benefit of a large audience. So thank you for that, and you've done a fantastic job, and wishing you all the best and good luck with the rest of your journey. And thank you for those who joined us today, and I hope you've gathered some inputs, insights, tips, ideas from the webinar, and you've been a fantastic audience. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks all.